What's up, everyone? It's Dominic here for Obligatory. It's April 28th. Let's run through some of the new music that came out within the past week. Kicking things off with some of the bigger name artists who dropped this week, we have a more or less surprise release from Jack Harlow with his third studio album, Jackman, which is a follow-up to his album Come Home the Kids Miss You that dropped last year. After a string of singles that started in January of this year, we have the new album from The National, First Two Pages of Frankenstein. It is the band's 9th studio album, and it features guest appearances from Sufjan Stevens, Phoebe Bridgers, and Taylor Swift, out now via 4AD. And with what is probably the most notable EP release of this week, we have Become by Beach House. These are 5 tracks from the duo's recording sessions for One Twice Melody. These tracks were originally released last week as a Record Store Day exclusive, but they just hit streaming this week and is available now via Sub Pop. As for some other big names that put out new albums this week, we have releases from Bebe Rexha, G Herbo, Matt Maltese, and Jessie Ware, among others. If you want to see the full list that we put together for releases within this past week, you can check that out here in this video, or you can visit our socials to read that. But right now, I want to talk about a few more albums that stood out to us here at Obligatory as highlights of this week's drops. Out of Asheville, North Carolina, indie rock singer-songwriter Indigo De Souza just dropped her third studio album, All of This Will End. It's a follow-up to her record, Any Shape You Take, that dropped in 2021, and that is out now via Saddle Creek. Heading over to the UK, we have the sophomore album from Skinny Palembe called Hardly the Same Snake. It is a fusion of art pop and neo-psychedelia sounds, a follow-up to his debut album Dreaming Is Dead Now. This is his first album for Partisan Records. On a bit of a different note, we have the album Roy by Single Mothers out of London, Canada. This one is a post-punk, dance punk, a little bit of post-hardcore inspired record. It is the 5th and potentially final album from the group based on some statements they've made, although there's been no definitive statements on whether this is the last we'll hear from them. This one comes just about 6 months after their last record, Everything You Need, and it is available now via Dine Alone Records. And with what was probably my most anticipated release going into this week, we have Improved Means to Deteriorated Ends by Washer, a duo currently split between Brooklyn and Philly. This is the duo's third album and their first since they released All Aboard in 2017. Their style ranges from indie rock, indie punk, to post-hardcore and slacker rock, and anything in between or any combination of those genres. And their album is out now via Exploding in Sound Records. And lastly, if you are a fan of noise rock or post-punk, we also have Wrong Dream by Tunic out of Winnipeg, Canada. This is the band's third album, and it's coming by way of Artifact Records. Moving on to singles released this week, again, you can check out the full list that we put together on your screen right here in this video, or check out our socials to read that and see more, but I will be focusing on a select handful of singles that our team here at Obligatory has decided as the most important to come out. In what feels like an almost inevitable and as natural as they come collaboration, we have a single from Thundercat and Tame Impala called No More Lies, focusing in on both artists' sort of specialties with psychedelic soul sounds and neo-psychedelia. It is Thundercat's first single since 2020 and the pair's first collaboration together. Good news for fans of Lucki. He has just released the new track, Leave Her, which originally leaked early last year, but just sees its official release onto streaming now. Rico Nasty drops her first piece of new music in 2023 with the trap metal track Turn It Up, featuring production from 100 Gex. Slum Village released a new single called Just Like You, featuring Larry June and the Dramatics. A new album is expected from the group sometime in August, which would mark their first release in 7 years. AJJ just dropped a new single called Candles of Love, which marks the 6th single from their upcoming album Disposable Everything, that is out May 26th via Hopeless Records. Horse Jumper of Love, the slowcore and indie rock band from Boston, just released a new single called Heartbreak Rules, which is off an upcoming EP/mini album of the same name that is due to release May 19th via Run for Cover Records. New York rapper Your Old Droog links up with Philly-based producer Sadhu Gold for a new single called Venture Capital, which follows up the rapper's previous single with legendary producer Madlib. The Detroit post-punk art punk band Proto Martyr just released a new single called Elimination Illumination Dances, which is the second single from their upcoming album, Formal Growth in the Desert, which is out June 2nd by way of Domino Recording Company. Already with one of the better jazz rap records in recent memory under his belt with 2021's For My Mama and Anyone Who Looked Like Her, McKinley Dixon just released the fourth single and title track from his upcoming album, Beloved Paradise Jazz. That album is out June 2nd via City Slang Records. And with the last single that we will be highlighting today, we have a track that falls somewhere between art punk and garage punk by Public Body. This track is called Way, No Way, and it is the third single from the band's upcoming debut album, Big Mess, which is out June 9th via Fat Cat Records.